hit the record button? Oh,
On it.
you're on it. You are on it, Kayla. Well, welcome everybody. Let me just pull up my my agenda here and we'll get going. So, first of all, I would like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Teonintate, Wendat, and is the home of many First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people as part of an intricate network that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understanding and new relationships and ask for guidance in all that we do. And you've been sent the agenda from Kayla last week. Looking for a mover and a seconder and any additions or things from the agenda. Melanie, I'll get you as a mover. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Lori. Any additions or deletions from, I guess, additions from the agenda? Any other business to add? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. Any opposition to the agenda as presented? Seeing no opposition, we will consider the agenda carried. At this point, does anyone need to disclose a disqualifying interest? No. Hearing none, we'll move on. Approval of the minutes from October 28th. Again, the minutes were sent out in the package that Kayla sent a week or so ago. I hope everyone's had a chance to look at it. Is there any questions about the minutes? Hearing none, I'll get a mover and a seconder for the minutes for October 28th. Tina and Melanie, great. And any opposition to the minutes? Perfect, we will consider the minutes carried. Business arising from the previous meeting, fundraising subcommittee meeting. So we had our second subcommittee meeting in early November. Trina Burlow was elected as chair of the fundraising subcommittee, and we had a pretty productive meeting, I think. Got some ideas going. We got some. We're not meeting again until the new year. At this point, we're just sort of waiting to make sure that we've got some ideas and some things that have started the ball rolling. But really, there's nothing to really kind of report to the board concrete. We're sort of waiting until things firm up a little bit more from the township end. The proposal is going to be presented to council for hall board renovations on December the 13th, I believe, John, something like that. And at that time, we're hoping things will firm up and we can kind of move forward and get an idea as to, maybe like we don't really at this point know like when the hall is going to be open or closed. If they're going to be closed for renovations next year, do we want to start like a big campaign with fundraising events? Probably not, and that sort of thing. So yeah, there's some good energy on our little committee there. Rick and Bonnie are excited to be part of it. Rick was even talking to me on Saturday at the concert about an idea he had where he's going to put up a weather balloon or something like this next year, and he wanted to have a grid and people could buy spaces on the grid and kind of make a bit of a lottery out of it. So anyways, and there's idea and energy there, and I think it'll be kind of fun for people, and it's kind of nice to have some new folks, some new members of the community on board too. So if there's anything you want to relay to the committee, or if there's any questions I can answer now. There's not really much to report, but if there's any questions, I can field those, and Trina wants to come to a board meeting once there are sort of more concrete plans and present the plans from the fundraising committee to the hall board. But that's sort of where we're at with that right now. Okay. Public events, concerts. So I think this just the acknowledgement of having. There wasn't any updates really from the township, I don't believe. Hey, Kayla?
No, it was
No.
just if you wanted to provide any updates for the, I think you had one already, did you
Yeah.
not? Yeah, so
Yeah,
past
okay.
or upcoming.
Great, thanks. That's what I thought. So I don't know, Sarah, do you want to chime in on your thoughts on the weekend, or?
So we had a lot of communication with the health unit prior to the show to make sure that we weren't, that we were complying and maybe even exceeding some expectations from a public health perspective. So we were really clear on what we had to do. We did it. I must say, as much as we tried to communicate about masking and that sort of thing, having the audience comply was not always easy. So, that's something that we're going to have to work harder on. And, but we had 178 people in attendance the night of the show. The band, as always, was happy. The wires were bopping. You guys know how it is in the basement where you think it gets a little bit thumpy. So it was, I think, generally a hit, and people were really happy to be back in the hall. The number of people that we had just saying that this was just such a delight to be able to be back in the community enjoying music was really rewarding. And Bill might have some numbers to report in terms of bar sales, I think.
Yeah, I'll have to, I think I've closed that tab on my browser, but I'll have to pull it up. But yeah, I would just kind of echo that people were ready to party on Saturday night. We had set up, and you probably noticed, the frame of the firefighters tent was set up. We tried to put the cover on, but it started to kind of lift up on us as we were setting it up, and we thought, oh geez, we're trying to keep COVID in control here. We don't really want to introduce other problems to the community. So we took the cover off, and we strung some Christmas lights and some outdoor lights out there, and so all of the eating was outside. There was no eating in the building. And we had a fenced-in area that was in with the liquor license, so we had approval for that as part of our special occasion permit to have an outdoor fenced-in area that people could consume alcohol in while they were having their food. We did all cans for the bar sales, which it's a little bit different. We did raise the price to $8 a can, rather than, I think we were charging $6 the last time we had events at the hall, but that was based on the size of a smaller can. And yeah, it's the rules were posted everywhere. I made a couple of announcements from the stage about the expectations about when you're wearing your masks. And I mean, like in a dark room where people are dancing and music is blaring, it's tough to go around to every single person, 178 or, however many, and say like, put your mask on, put your mask on, put your mask on. So, people are adults. Everyone that came in had a vaccination passport. It was checked at the door. It was checked very thoroughly. Our volunteers were great. We had kind of 3 stages of kind of check-in. Well, 2 stages of check-in before coming in. So we had everyone access the side door, and as soon as they walked in, they had their vaccine passport and their ID checked. And then they presented their ticket. And then once they had done their vaccine passport and presented their ticket, then they got a wristband. But the wristbands and the tickets were all kind of checked in, and everybody also signed in at that table as well, at the ticket table. So I think, and that was all communicated, like Sarah said, very very well with the health unit. And yeah, so I mean, we haven't heard anything at this point. I guess that's good. So yeah, Lori, you had a hand up there.
I'm just wondering, Bill, like, could inspectors come in and we are liable if people aren't wearing their masks?
So that's something I spoke to the inspector about. And yes, there is an element of risk. And that's why it's really important that people comply. It's a $750 fine to the person. And the fine to a corporation, which I guess is what we would be considered as the municipality, that can be quite steep. So it's really vital that people keep them on, and we continually communicated that. But like Bill says, there is a little bit of flexibility if people are drinking and taking off their mask to drink. So, I think that the health department definitely had a very collaborative and helpful attitude. So I imagine that if this was us trying our best, taking every step possible, that they would come in and maybe help us on an information basis. But if we continually caused problems, or we were just outright belligerent and trying not to follow the rules, they might have a different.
Yeah, we were very clear about where people could have masks on and off. For, like, we said the only place you can eat is outside. And we were, and actually, and I would say that was there was 100% compliance with that. There were no, food containers inside at all in the garbages. And we asked people to, if they wanted to have a drink, to have a seat around the outside. And there, like, honestly, there were signs. So there was a sign on each of the tables as people were checking in. So as they were signing their name for the COVID screening, for the contact tracing, there was a sign right beside where they were, the clipboard where they were signing their name, that said, what the rules were regarding masking and that sort of thing. So it was. And had to be, I think, at least 6 posters on the lower level, in the washrooms. Like, they were all over the place. So I feel very, very good about and two, like Sarah said, we had communicated with the health unit very well, explaining what we were doing, what the organization was, what the kind of the flow was, and the expectations of the patrons, as well as us, was as the organizers. And I feel like we did the best we could have done, and the health unit, I think, would have recognized that. And when I told people, the odd person who was walking around with their mask off, it wasn't very many, and it wasn't usually for very long. Mostly it had been like somebody who just got a drink at the bar and was opening it and taking a sip on their way to a seat. And I would just say, like, it's a $750 fine for you. I feel pretty confident that we, as the organizing party, would not have been. I think we would have been looked on more favorably than someone who was not complying with the order. Basically, I guess what I'm trying to say.
The health unit is so helpful, and they've just been incredible every step of the way, helping us navigate this. So I can't say enough about it. And it feels good. They reviewed all of our plans. We talked to them twice. So they're very aware. And I even shared that we might feel like we would have some difficulties getting people to comply. So that was something that we talked about, and how best to address non-compliance, which is just continually asking, making sure that we do have the information up there. I think we'll have a higher level of compliance at the upcoming concerts. I think it was also in part just there was a lot of beer consumed, so that just means you have to keep your mask off a little bit more to drink it, I suppose.
Yeah. So in terms of the numbers, the kind of the bar sales, we had purchased 18, 25 cases of 24. We had 23 cases. We had 16 cases of beer, 4 cases of cider, and 3 cases of gin smash. And we have, out of all of that, it's like 500 and I can't remember, 36 cans or something like that. I think we sold 516. We sold a lot of beer, a lot of booze on the weekend. Ticket sale, like the alcohol sales, the bar sales were over $4,000, which it's a pretty busy night. And in terms of the flow through on the bar, because we basically had kind of stations of like different tubs of booze, of the different alcohols set up. People could just come and grab their own. I think that worked really well. Like everyone, there was no issues with that. There was no lineups. It was just, it flowed through very well. So I think in terms of like not having people gather and at the bar and that sort of thing, it worked well. And I would say like too, like in general, you know, everyone was very happy to be out and to be having a party and to be, you know, kind of shaking off the cobwebs, I guess. But too, like, there was no ill will, there was no belligerence, there was no, you know, nobody. If I reminded somebody to put a mask on, you know, it was complied with. A couple of people who knew me, maybe there's a little bit more good humor than about it than normal, but it was in general, it was very, we had no issues at all with the crowd, in terms of, you know, presenting vaccine passports or anything. So I think it all went as well as it could have. So yeah.
So I had a few phone calls on Saturday, which I just directed to you guys, to Sarah and to Bill. But what do I tell people when, so I had one couple call and say they couldn't make it, they wanted to resell their ticket, what did they have to do? Are you allowed to do that?
So yes, they can resell their ticket, and at the door, what we do is if the ticket isn't in the name of the purchaser, then we just do contact tracing, and that's a deal entirely between them. But
Okay.
we can do all the contact tracing. We made sure that every ticket, so everybody gets their vaccine passport checked, then we had to make sure that the passport matched their ID. Then they went to the ticket. We made sure that their name matched the ticket. And if their name didn't match the ticket, then we would gather their information for contact tracing.
Okay.
So it's not an issue
Put
at
that
all.
off on to you, but I didn't know what the answer was to that.
I'm sorry that you got those calls, Claire. Just a note.
It's a little surprising. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Right now, the Avening Hall website is
That's true.
in a bit of a pickle, and I'm just getting it rebuilt right now. So maybe, you know, they're looking to Claire because they're finding her number through the township on the booking site or something. I don't know, but
Yeah, they all Googled Avening Hall and got my name.
yeah, I'm sure they would get the aveninghall.com stuff. They get my name, but I think just because the new website is just getting transitioned, they probably aren't seeing that first. So that'll get tidied up in the near future.
So and you know, almost every concert I'll get a call asking
That's true.
who the opening band is and what time's the main show come on.
Yeah.
And
Sorry about that.
just tell them to show up for it all.
All right. Any other questions or any comments from the weekend, from the concerts? The concert we have two more this week, one more tomorrow night, and then one Saturday. So, okay, COVID-19 update. So this is the email from Amanda about capacity limits that Kayla sent around. I think I forwarded this one to everybody too. But essentially, just it goes over, you know, pretty much everything we've been talking about just now, but the proof of vaccine, and we are at 100% capacity. It just goes through everything really. The responsible person designation, and there's been a supplement to that we'll be talking about. So so basically that email was from Amanda. October 29th. It was in the package that went out to everybody. The responsibility declaration. So this is something that will be in addition to rental agreements going at this point from now on. Basically, the township got legal opinion. Basically, that it comes down to the ultimate user, so the person who's responsible for the event at the hall. So in the case of the concerts, that's Sarah and I. But in the case of a wedding or a bowling party or whatever the event is, it's the person who is organizing it. There is a form that goes with that, and essentially the person who is renting must sign this form, and then we are to keep a copy along with any other rental forms, just so that they can state that they are the ultimate. Yes, they are the ultimate user. Sounds like a video gaming thing, the ultimate user. But anyways, yes. So that's.
Would family Christmases fall under this?
I think everything does, Claire. Yeah, quite honestly.
So with
Yeah,
a family Christmas, are people required to record everyone who is there with a phone number? They just do not need proof of vaccination, right?
I think anybody who's entering the facility,
Would not be on there the same as a
let
funeral,
me
a wedding,
just look a little closer here.
or a rite or ceremony.
Doesn't matter. You're in
These are exceptions.
you're entering the Clearview Township building. You have to be vaccinated.
I think they do. I think they do have to have proof of vaccination, Claire. So
I really wasn't
including
sure
but
how
not
to read this.
weddings, funerals,
sentence
religious
down there.
services, personal care.
So what does it mean? Other settings will be permitted to remove capacity limits if they require, i.e. opt into, like proof of vaccination. I don't really understand what that is telling me.
Sorry. Or are you looking at the form?
I'm looking at what Amanda had sent out on October 29th.
Okay. Yep. I'm there.
So on the second page, well, when it printed for me, on the second page at the top, other settings will be permitted to remove capacity limits if they require, i.e. opt into proof of vaccination, including but not limited to.
Yeah. So I think basically what that means is like it's a partial list. So anything that's on that list, but I would.
Okay, that's.
But anything, any pretty like, bowling parties isn't on there, birthday parties or I don't know, wedding showers or whatever isn't on there. Buck and Does isn't on there, but it's, I would say that falls under the same category.
Okay. Now, so 12 and under don't require a
Correct.
vaccine, correct?
Correct.
But now they can be vaccinated, but is it still the law that 12 and under don't require to have the vaccine to be coming in?
Yes, because at this point, no one who's 12 and under will have, and even the period to get a second shot isn't. I think even if you got your first vaccination like on Monday or Tuesday, whenever the date was, those kids won't be getting their second shot until sometime in January, if I'm not mistaken, and then it's another 3 weeks before they are considered fully vaccinated. So at this point, they do not require the POV. They don't have a proof of vaccination. So
I'm just checking my text to a family that wanted it for Christmas, and I did tell them that they had to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
And they have to provide a list.
Yeah.
Do they give that list to me, or do they just send it straight to the township?
they just hold on to it.
They hold on to it.
Yes. So that in the event of an outbreak or of something happening, that they, like, again, that comes back to that ultimate ultimate user, like the person who's responsible at the event, like they are required to check to make sure they're checking vaccination of everyone who's in attendance, and then keep a record of all the people who attended.
Right, okay.
Okay. All right. Maybe that's a nice segue, Claire, into the booking reports.
Okay, so lots of action with rental inquiries. So November, obviously we have a concert this weekend. And then we have a family Christmas on December 19th and on December 26th, which are booked right now. So going into the new year, I have concerts penciled in for February 25 and 26, March 4th and 5th. Am I on track there?
I'm not exactly sure yet, but I will follow up with everybody. I have to say everybody is still, it's all still pretty kooky. So I will double check and see if those dates still stand, or if we should just erase them.
Okay. So I've had, let me just count them here. 1, 2, 3. I've had 7 people want to rent the hall. I talked to Bill earlier, and we kind of thought that we would shut down. We may shut down for the summer for renovations. So that would take out almost all of those rentals. I do have one rental that I'm feeling like we should maybe, if the renovations are going to go through, that I would like to see it pushed another month, because this poor girl's been trying to get married for 2 years, same weekend. So last year and this year she had to cancel, but she wanted it for the end of July of next year. I have a Christmas rental for, or not a Christmas, a New Year's for December or 22. So that may or may not fly. It's pretty difficult to tell these people we don't know, kind of thing. But anyway, if I'll continue for the next little bit to say that you know, we're thinking that the hall could be closed for the summer of 2022. But we could certainly, like, I'll keep a list and we can certainly contact them and let them know what's going on once things get settled. Does that sound fair to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's what we have to do, unfortunately. You know, with those, I mean, I guess it's going to come to council, and Terry's going to have his report. And it'll, you know, maybe John, you want to chime in here, but it'll get either approved or that sort of thing. But we probably still won't even know dates or a timeline until into the new year. Unfortunately, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
gonna.
you know what, we'll just have to wait, right? And
It's going to be almost spring before we get any dates for any
right.
work to be done. So it'll all have to go out to tender, and whatever's approved will have to go out to a tender. So it's going to be spring.
Okay. Bowling alleys. So I was in playing on the bowling alleys. I can't get the south alley, the south pin set or whatever, to reset with the button at the, like, where you throw the balls from. You know how there's that little reset button? I cannot get the alleys to reset. I don't know if that's something that Murray or Nathan or somebody can look into. I feel like it's a wiring problem, but I really don't know. But the alleys seem to be working fine. Like, you know, the pins were resetting, everything was pretty good, except for the reset button. So if I can call Polytech, but I believe, Ed, you might know, but I believe that it's just a doorbell or something, isn't it? Like that's what the reset is.
So I would think it's something, wouldn't be anything that's not available in the area.
Yeah, I think I would think it's fairly simple, and that I can contact Murray and get him to go have a look at it. He's retired now. I'm sure he's looking for something to do on a Wednesday afternoon or whatever. And he likes to do it. He likes to get in there and play around with that stuff too. So I think he'd be more than happy to help us out and have a look at it. I do have a couple of leads on some pin setters for you, Claire. So younger teenagers that we can talk about too when that time comes.
Awesome. I've had some people asking if they could rent the hall for bowling. And I just put them off for a couple of weeks until we can figure out the reset thing.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah,
I
sure.
did not contact anyone for the bowling league because I forgot about it till right now for the ladies. So I will look into that tomorrow. And
That's all right.
that
Obviously,
can-
no one's been busting down the door to get back at it either, right? So
no.
yeah. Okay.
And then just the final thing is earlier this week, I submitted my resignation from the hall board to Kayla. I will finish out this year, but as of January 1st, I will be a visitor to the Avening Hall, not a volunteer to the Avening Hall. It's I struggled with my decision. I've had a lot of fun on this, but I put a lot of years into it, and I'm not overly comfortable with meeting all of these people and doing the rentals and all of this stuff anymore. So it's time, and I've made up my mind, and I want to thank all you guys and previous hall board members. It's been fun, but it's time for me to go. The end.
Oh. Wow. Well, that's very I'm sorry to hear that you're leaving us on the hall board, Claire, and I don't know if there's a word other than just like to kind of put your dedication and the not just years but decades of service that you've given to this community and to this hall board. I don't think thank you is a big enough word, or two words. But wow, okay, I gotta digest that one a little bit. Sorry. Maybe
So
for
I'm
once
more than
speechless.
happy to help out, to help my successor. I have submitted to Kayla as well, because I didn't want it to go public. Like I didn't want to put it on the agenda. The phone numbers of all the contacts, you know, the pest control, the Polytech computers, the cleaner, all of those sort of things. So Kayla can submit that or send that to you guys individually. I don't really want those. I don't really think we should have those phone numbers public knowledge. But anyway, but you know, I'm more than happy to be. If you have any questions, there's lots of things I can probably answer quickly, and for you, and I'm more than happy to help out with this transition.
Okay.
Thank you, Claire.
Yes.
Well, thank you, guys.
Okay. All right. Karen.
I can report on to follow up on the bowling discussion. I think that was sort of part of old business. I reached out to some of the reps from the health unit, just inquiring about, protocols specific to the bowling alley, and got multiple responses and guidance as it pertains to indoor recreation facilities, and kind of an invitation to connect directly with the health unit when we get to the point of wanting to start bowling up again and looking at maybe an addition to our safety plan, or a safety plan specific to the alleys. It still wasn't entirely clear to me. I also haven't reached out to like Georgian Bowl, which I think would be a logical next step as we get closer to opening up for bowling again. So just want to report out on that. And then in terms of a financial update, not a lot of activity since our last meeting. Just one withdrawal, and that was our $400 float for the concert. In the next few days, we'll be reconciling the revenues and expenses from this past concert, and then we'll be doing the same thing after these next ones. So there'll be a lot more activity then. And our bank balance as of October 31st, I could put it also in the chat, but it's $80,976.24. That's about all I have for that.
Thanks, Karen. Any questions for Karen? All right, hearing none, we will move on to new business. We've kind of talked about 8.1 already. It sort of flowed in with the COVID update, the transferring responsibility. Does anybody feel we need to have any more discussion on that? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the holiday lighting. The dough has been installed and she is lit up at the front of the hall there for all to see. So that was, I think it was put in last week ago, 10 days ago, something like that. And it's been on since last Thursday or Friday. It does just stay on the whole time. I had asked Amanda about that. And it's not on a timer or anything. It just stays on. So it's all LED lights, and yeah. Yeah, so, oops, dropped my agenda there. Is there any other discussion at this point? Oh, go ahead, John, please.
I had talked to Joel from the township, and the garbage containers, he's going to try to have them on the north side of the center island. We're going to try that for a while, see how it works. And if we can't have it work, then either on our side or on their side, we'll be in contact and see what other kind of arrangements we can make to make it easier for both the operator and putting them out there.
So I had I put them on the I had put them on the north side of the island the last couple of weeks, but at the road, not in the parking lot. I think we had talked about that. I kind of forgot about that until you mentioned it now, John, that we had talked about having them kind of off the road, and they've been picked up. So like we had a full recycling bin or a half full recycling bin last week, and it got picked up, and then a pretty full garbage bin and a very full green bin this week, and they both got picked up and taken away from the concerts, and we'll have another full recycling bin and green bin, I would imagine, this coming week. When we do have events, the garbage might become an issue for us. Just kind of seeing the size of the bins and some of the events and the people that we get in. When it's just folks coming in. We have had in the past, where it's people just throw everything in the garbage. They don't put anything in the recycling. They don't really sort it, or like that sort of thing. They don't use the green bin. So because they're just coming in for a birthday party and they've got pizza boxes and God knows what else. So it might become a problem for us in the future. And so I don't know if we would be allowed to have more bins. The other thing that might become an issue for us as well is people putting things in our garbage bins who aren't renters of the hall. So we've already had that where the bins were left when they were first delivered back in September. They got filled. It was funny because Trina was actually at the hall, and this woman from Mulmer of all places drove up, and she says, "Oh, I just put all my recycling in your bin there." And Trina said, "Well, the bins aren't being picked up till November. You need to remove them." And she never did. So they were, they were quite the thing last week when I put them out, the recycling bin, but I put it out and it got taken away, but it could become an issue for us. So I don't know if that system, I don't know if we need to move to a more commercial system at the hall down the road or not, but something to think about for our users. Sarah, sorry, I see you had a hand.
Is it just that they're visible so people are, yeah.
That was definitely part of it. But I do think that the size of them, especially the size of the green bin, if people are using if we put green bins out, if we go, paper plates and green bins at the beef barbecue, for example, we're going to have, we could fill probably 3 or 4 green bins by the end of a beef barbecue. It's maybe an issue.
Do those bins fit into the container that we have outside?
The green bin might, but the recycling and the garbage bins are too big. I've got them tucked around the back of the hall now, so they're out of sight. We had them in the hall when they were fresh and clean, but now that they've been used, I don't really want to bring them back in the hall. We might want to
make up some signage too and put on those bins of what goes in those bins. We
did. Yeah, we made signs. We made signs up for the weekend, just with markers and paper. But it's probably a good idea. And we do have a couple of smaller green bins actually here at our place that the old size that we could potentially because you're supposed to everything's supposed to be bagged, and we have bags that fit that size of green bin, so we could use those around the hall, and then just put the bags into the new larger green bin. I think we were pretty on top of the recycling as well. With all cans being used for the alcohol sales, we were able to manage that fairly well.
Do you recycle the beer cans, or do you take them back for a refund?
Yeah, so I've separated them out, and we kind of, Trina and I on Sunday morning kind of counted 100 cans into each bag, and we're going to take them back for returns, which isn't the nicest job in the world, but and as easy as it was to I will say, as easy as it was to serve those on Saturday night, cleaning them up wasn't great. It would be much better to go back to our other system where everybody had their own cup and we had the kegs and that sort of thing. I mean, it's a little more work. It's not as fast, it does certainly allow for more kind of congregation, which we're trying to obviously minimize right now around the bar area. But so it maybe is okay for right now to do it this way and just kind of suffer through the sorting the following day. But yeah, so there's
About using the garbage containers with clear bags.
yeah, we did that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what you're doing. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back to the bins, like, do you think that we have to build something outside to house them so that
Possibly.
they're not public all the time and they're not that far away then that whoever's putting them out has to drag them all from behind the building or something?
Yeah, and I've seen, I think it's at the 5-6 corner there, the back way into Creemore to George Street. They've made it at the corner. They've made a really nice little lean-to thing for their garbage bins. We could maybe do something like that out the side. I don't know. Talk to, we could maybe find a volunteer to put something together, or it's something to think about for the future too, potentially. Maybe when we're doing the reno, we could incorporate it somehow. So
Keep it locked.
yeah. At least even just tucked away. Like, I think that, like, one of the biggest problems when people just saw a big huge garbage bin outside the hall and they're driving by it down Airport Road. Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah, and if you find that you need more, you can put a request into the county to get more.
Oh, okay. It's as simple as that, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right. Any other discussion there? Sarah?
I'm just wondering who was the genius that got those picnic tables into the back trailer? Because they were beautiful.
Yes.
Who was that did it originally?
Well, I think.
I think that was Midwest, because that was.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They were because that's the transfer trailer.
Oh, shucks. I thought if it was someone here that had some equipment that could put them back in as nicely for us, that would save us the arguments of trying, we all yell at each other trying to get them back in. But that's fine. We can, it's easy enough to do, I guess. It's just.
Well, whoever they are, I don't want to have to play them in Jenga someday.
Yeah.
Are they, like, I rented the picnic tables out a couple of times this summer. But I think we just backed the truck up. I know the one family I lent them to, they just backed the truck up and slid them over. Were they messy?
No, they were beautiful. They were unbelievable.
No.
It was so precise. I couldn't believe how they did it.
They fit in. There might have been a half an inch on either side of the table. The table fit in just perfectly, slid straight into the trailer, and then the second one was piled upside down on top of it, all the way in the whole 50 feet of that trailer. It was, done with precision, and they're stacked in there pretty good.
They're heavy little buggers.
They are. Go ahead, Ed.
They're too wide. We just cut a couple inches off each end of the picnic table.
I think it's good. I don't think there's any like they fit in there just perfect. Like, I think it's fine. Okay. All right. So hearing no more discussion, our next meeting is on Thursday, January the 20th at 2022 at 7:30. I guess we will see almost everyone there, unfortunately. But at this point, I think I will say, and I know this isn't really your style, Claire, but I think we need to need to recognize you at some point and properly for your years of service and dedication. And I don't want to do a half baked job of it here tonight, but I think we need to thank you, and we need to recognize you properly, and for all the dishes you've done and all of the fun times that we've all had together, and the laughs we've shared and everything, and the work that we've done for this community, and that you've done for this community, for all that you've done for this community. We need to recognize you properly. So damn it, we're going to do that at some point in time for you. And I think we'll end the meeting. Just, you're going to have to put that in your calendar, and we'll drag you there somehow.
Okay.
And can we get a motion to adjourn?
I'll do it.
I was hoping. And seconded by Karen.